All right. Slide 4. So my goal, which might be different from your goal, which is to get 3 credits and an A and all of that, is to help you cultivate the skills of an amateur philosopher. Some of the greatest philosophers of all time were amateurs, lovers of the subject, not people who did it for a living, money. An avocation is a non-vocation. A vocation is something you do for money, right? So you do it for love, not for money. Socrates, one of the greatest philosophers of all time. Lots of other philosophers like that. Okay, what does an amateur's philosopher's skills consist of? The ability to see contradictions, like the drive-through Braille ATM machine, which doesn't make sense. What's a contradiction? Something that goes against meaning. Contra, against. Dice, dire, dice in Italian, dire, to speak. Diction, your speech. Dictionary, collection of meanings. Goes against, contradiction, meaning, goes against meaning. Like being a married bachelor. Bachelor's and unmarried, so it's being a married, unmarried man. Can't be. Goes against meaning. Makes no sense. Right? That's contradiction. So like the economist sees contradictory thing with the drive-through Braille ATM machine, or the appearance of a contradiction, and then resolves it, right, using economic thinking. Philosophers, unlike economists specialize in knowledge about economics. Biologists specialize in knowledge about living things, bio, and so on, right? Every area of knowledge is specific, whereas philosophy is the love of wisdom. Philo, love, Sophia, wisdom. The love of wisdom and knowledge about everything. Right? So philosophers are generalists. They are interested in knowing about everything. So, whereas the economist notices problems in the world of economics, and the biologist might notice something in the world of biology, or mathematics might notice a mathematical puzzle, philosophers are sensitive to all kinds of contradictions and puzzles in every domain. Right? A paradox is a particularly interesting kind of contradictory thing, where in the Greek words para and dox, para means partial, dox means belief, right? Where you can only partly believe something because you know it has a contradictory element, yet what's puzzling about it is that even though you know these two things contradict each other, which means they can't both be true at the same time, you're still inclined to believe both of them. So that's the puzzle. I believe both of these things, or both make sense, but I know they both can't be true at the same time. So how do I resolve this? That's a paradox. It's not just a contradiction that you don't accept. It's two contradictory beliefs or more, maybe 3, whatever, where you know that they contradict each other, and yet you still believe all of them, right? That's a paradox, right? So philosophers look for contradictions, puzzles, paradoxes, any kind of illogic, anything that doesn't make sense. Our antenna goes up, that's a problem. Illogic. Confusion, things that are vague, trying to understand them and make them clear, right? So those are some of the general things that drive a philosophical antenna, and the way that we try to resolve them is amateur philosophers do this, and you are to a certain extent, because you're taking this class, an amateur philosopher. Critical thinking, thinking carefully, using your imagination. Einstein said, imagination is more important than knowledge. Analyzing things, using analysis, examining things, reflecting on them, contemplating them, reasoning about them, arguing, exchanging reasons and debating about them, considering examples and counterexamples, examples that undermine the thing, making analogies and comparisons, trying to tease things apart. That's what philosophers do. Those are the skills of an amateur philosopher in general. Of course, there's a lot more to be said, but this is enough to give you an idea. It's like economists study economics, biologists study biology, physicists study physics, artists study art, political scientists study politics, historians study history, philosophers study everything. Might seem like a lot of work, right? But, what makes knowledge in all those other domains knowledge, right? There's no criteria for that, right? That's the study of knowledge. What makes something knowledge? All right, go on to the next slide.